Hi, I'm Andy with EcoCha, and here we are with batch number 15 of the EcoCha Tea Club. And I personally am very excited about this month's batch of tea because it comes from my favorite place of all tea places, the region where Dongding Oolong tea originated and is still most well represented, and that would be the Oolong Fenghuang Seqi Chuantong Oolong Bisai, which translates as the Oolong and Fenghuang are the names of two adjacent villages just above Dongding Mountain. And there actually are three villages that are included in the area that comprises this competition. In addition to Oolong and Fenghuang, there is Jiangya Chun, which is where Dongding Mountain is. These three adjacent villages, neighboring villages, are the landmark of Dongding Oolong tea, and following the establishment and development of the Lugu Farmers Association Dongding Oolong tea competition that began over 40 years ago, perhaps about 30 plus years ago, the Oolong Fenghuang or Phoenix Village community decided to begin or to establish their own tea competition. In our experience, we feel that this tea not only represents a traditional artisan tea, but it has a character and a substance that lets it stand alone, and it really is a distinctive quality of tea, which is why we decided that it was very worthwhile to share with you and to represent this local community competition. This tea is second category prize, which means that it falls within the top 8% of almost 1,000 overall entries. And our friend who submitted this batch of tea submitted more than one, and another batch of the same stock of tea leaves. So in other words, the tea leaves came from the same day of harvest, from the same farm, were processed the same, and our friend roasted them separately, and the results simply were slightly different. So this batch, he, in a modest sort of safe way, is saying that he's sharing with us second category place prize, but in truth, it's the same batch of tea that got number 4 out of almost 1,000 entries. So we decided to agree with our friend who roasted this tea, and we'll call it second category prize rather than fourth place prize. But in truth, they're the same tea leaves. So that's what we have to share with you. There was just enough. He had to take the samples that are given back to the people who enter a batch of tea, in addition to the bulk bag that he had left over from submitting a certain amount for each batch. So we were very happy to discover that our friend had just enough to offer us to share with our tea club members this month. Perhaps in a few months' time, our membership would go up and we would have to forfeit this batch of tea simply because there wasn't enough quantity. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and brew this traditionally made Dongding Oolong tea. The tea was sourced from the Alishan tea growing region in Ruifeng village, and this has become a very popular place for both competition players to source tea and for tea lovers to simply buy Alishan High Mountain tea. It's one of the most sought after resources in terms of geographical location. It's on the northern side of the Alishan tea producing region, and slightly more recently developed, and the farms are not so large. This batch was a medium batch in terms of its overall quantity produced on a given day's harvest. The factors that determine this traditional character come down to two basic things. One is the amount of oxidation in the tea leaves as they were being processed, and even more significantly, the skill and degree of roasting after the leaves are completely dried. So for people who like a warmer, richer, more full-bodied character in a tea due to the roasting level, this is one of the teas for you. I personally fall into that category. I love a hearty roasted tea, not only because of its strong flavor, because along with that very bold, distinct character is a complexity of flavor. Along with the very clearly notable roasted note in the flavor profile, there's an aspect of sweetness that's balanced out by the natural bitters in the tea, and it just goes right across your palate and is it's quite a heady character to it. It's like toasted nuts or roasted vegetables. That balance of the roasted character with a sweetness is what is unique to this type of tea. But in general, for your standard amount of tea leaves, this type of tea, given its heavier roasted quality, less tea leaves can be used. Perhaps about 7 grams for a 150 milliliter teapot. Thanks for being with us once again. Please share your comments and experiences of this batch of tea with us, and videos. If you care to do a tea tasting video, we'd love to see it. We want to know how you feel about these batches that we find very special and unique, and are very excited to share with you. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next month.